Welcome back to World Hour. Indonesia is currently the only place in the world that still allows traveling dolphin circuses. It is a huge industry that rakes in billions of rupiah.
Yes, but with the recent death cases of dolphins, does the government have any plans on shutting such operations? To discuss more to us is Femke and Haas. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hi, Femke.
Hi.
So can you tell us how bad is the situation for the dolphins who are on the traveling circuses in Indonesia?
The traveling shows are the worst of the worst. It's cruelty in its worst for dolphins. Can you imagine being a dolphin that is supposed to live in the open ocean, travel like 100 kilometers per hour per day? They can travel up to a speed of 40 kilometers per hour, and then they're like kept inside a tiny pool in which they just can circle around. This in itself is already cruelty in its worst. But now we're talking about dolphins that are kept in these pools temporarily and then taken from one place to the other by truck. So they are taken out of the water with the gravity of their bodies pressing all their organs, and it's very painful for them to be out of the water. And then they're taken by truck from one place to the other, meaning from Semarang all the way to Bali, which is like, 30 hours driving? It's very cool.
And I heard that the dolphins for the show are deprived from eating so that they can perform well.
Right, so dolphins in general, if you keep them in a pool and you want them to perform, so they're basically used for entertainment purposes, they would not do this by themselves. They don't like to jump through a hoop, or they don't like to dance to,
Music.
as the traveling show is doing, like they use loud dangdut music, and they make dolphins perform on this music. They don't like to do this. They only do this because they are starving. They are hungry, they want to eat, and every time they do a performance, then they get a small piece of fish.
Right. And now what's the rate of these dolphins dying in these shows with the way that they're being kept?
There's no data on this. We asked access for this data because it's very important that we know the exact numbers of dolphins that are kept in captivity and that are dying in captivity. This data has never been openly published anywhere. It's supposed to be open because this is a protected species. They are endangered. It's supposed to be open data, but we've never been provided access to it.
Yeah, how many companies are running this show?
So there are 3 big companies that run traveling shows with dolphins. These travel shows are the last traveling shows in the world because they're banned worldwide. And then, in Indonesia, there are still 3 companies. One company operates outside of Java, so they take the dolphins even by flight, by air transport.
To other island?
Yeah, to other islands, so they're taken by plane. And then the other 2 companies run the dolphin shows here in Java, and they go from village to village by truck.
Right. And if I'm not wrong, the Forestry Ministry has actually banned these traveling shows.
Yeah.
But they still occur now. Why is this still happening?
Yeah, so back in 2013, the forestry minister had banned the traveling shows. Yeah, for very good reasons. Like, there's not one reason why you would allow these shows to continue.
Right.
He banned the shows, but until today the shows still happen.
Why is that though?
There has not been any legal action. By the
Weak
government.
law enforcement?
Yeah, the law enforcement has been very weak. And the local forestry department office has still been providing a permit to allow the traveling dolphin shows to continue and to take the dolphins from A to B. So that's a very big problem because their head is telling them to stop, but they're still allowing the circuses to continue.
So
It's a very gray area, but it's very clear that it's illegal trade. They're taking the dolphins from the ocean illegally. They always take them from one area, which is the Java Sea, and then especially in Karimun, Java area. So it's a national park, and there's many dolphins traveling through this area. This is where they're always catching the dolphins, and this is where the 2 main businesses that operate these travel shows have their headquarters, because this is where they can take the dolphins easily. They pay the fishermen to take the dolphins from the ocean, and then they are using the loopholes in the law, basically, that allows them to keep the dolphins temporary. They're supposed to be returned back into the ocean.
Right. Now, explain more about this legal loophole that allows them to operate.
Yeah, there is a law that protects the dolphins. In Indonesia, it's the law number 5 on biodiversity. marine mammals are protected under this law, and the management, the authorities, is the forestry department. While anywhere else in the world, dolphins will be protected under fisheries department. So also this is very questionable. Like, why is the forestry department holding on to the protection of dolphins when actually in the field, like on real rescue operations, for example, we have a marine mammal rescue network. If there's a stranding, we work with fisheries department. But the forestry department still provides like the permits for the traveling shows, for example, and they want to hold on to this management. This law is it's not detailed enough, and it needs to be upgraded. So right now, what's happening is that the loopholes in this law are being used to allow the dolphin traveling shows to keep the dolphins and then to even sell them or rent them out to other commercial centers. Meaning that actually they can only keep the dolphins for rescue purposes or research. So if you keep a protected animal, you can do so for the reason of rescue or research. And they use this to justify them keeping the dolphins temporary after the fishermen have caught them entangled in the nettings. So they say that the dolphins need treatment and they need to stay in their centers until they are able to return back into the ocean. And then the forestry department will provide them a temporary holding permit. And this should be a temporary holding permit until the dolphins are treated and can be returned back into the ocean. In fact, they are ordering the fishermen to catch the dolphins, they are paying for it, and we have proof of this.
But still, nothing can be done about that.
The whole world is watching Indonesia and asking, stop these traveling shows. There are letters from all over the world, also from officials, even from the United Nations. There has been a letter asking the Indonesian government to shut down these traveling shows with dolphins.
So it's not good for our, Indonesian image in the international stage.
Not at all. Not at all, no.
Right. And you're also a part of the Jakarta Animal Aid Network.
Yeah.
And so the government is basically not really doing much now. What about your organization's efforts? What are you guys doing to try and stop this?
Well, we started with collecting proof about where do these dolphins come from, how are they kept, and we report this to the government.
Will public petition work?
And there has been a public petition, and not even by Jakarta Animal Aid Network, but also other organizations have started petitions. There has been a very big petition, up to 130,000 people signing in only 3 months by Choki from the band Neutral, like a very famous rock band here in Indonesia.
Yes.
So there have been various efforts from other parties asking the government to stop these traveling shows. In fact, the last petition had 500,000 signatures within only 6 months. But these people, everybody asking to stop these traveling shows, their questions remain unanswered.
Maybe because of the demand still there, the market still there. Do you think it is important to educate people, like, to stop watching these shows?
Yeah, so we are indeed educating the public. Do never ever go and watch these shows. Do not. By going and buying a ticket, you are fueling illegal trade in dolphins. You are supporting the cruelty that's happening to these dolphins. These dolphins are supposed to be in the ocean with their families. They're suffering in these pools. So don't ever buy a ticket. That's one of the campaigns that we run to inform the public. But yeah, in the meantime, we also try to work with the government, and we have set up a rehabilitation center for dolphins because it's a very logic step now to release these dolphins and bring them back into the ocean. And we have prepared the best facilities in the world. It's a permanent rehabilitation center built in Karimun, Jawa, ready to take them.
But nobody uses them.
It's still standing empty there. Yeah.
Right. Now, the Jakarta Animal Aid Network is also working on permits to rescue these dolphins as well, for you guys to go out there and rescue these dolphins.
Right, yeah.
How far are your efforts so far in getting these permits?
In 2010, we signed the MOU with the Forestry Department, so with the National Head Office, to enable us to rehabilitate these captive dolphins, because the director who was in the position at the time also agreed that these dolphins had to be returned as soon as possible to the wild, to the ocean. So we signed an MOU. We have prepared all the facilities needed to rehabilitate these dolphins. We have flown in experts from the Dolphin Project, from the Rico Berry Dolphin Project. This organization has released already tens of dolphins in different countries around the world, so they're very professional and dedicated to this cause. There has been a lot of financial support from different organizations. to prepare the rehabilitation of these dolphins. So legally, everything was ready, the paperwork was ready, the facilities were ready. But then there was a change of director within the forestry department and everything came on hold and nothing happened.
Well, I hope that this issue can, press, all of us can press the government to do something to stop the traveling circuses. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And coming up next, Stephen Hawking joins a futuristic bid to explore life in space.
Plus more business updates next on World Hour.